So the biggest reason I don't really believe the official COVID-19 narrative is not because they've been caught labeling every death with COVID-19 as a COVID-19 death, whether or not that was really the cause of death or not, or whether they have just marked people as dying with COVID-19 that maybe didn't even have it at all, or whether, they've been inflating the statistics of positive tests because, people who don't even take the tests say they were ended up testing positive, or nurses that tested random things get results that say that was positive. That's pretty sketchy part of it. Yeah, it seems like if this is really a worthy of all this ridiculous stuff we have to do, they wouldn't have to keep lying about it to us. But, that's not the biggest reason I don't believe in this thing. It's not that I don't believe that, there are people dying of some new illness. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I don't really believe that we need to all halt everything and everybody freeze and nobody have any fun. Hey, whoa, what's this guy doing? Hey, are you gathering? No gatherings. Hey, come on, guys. What are you doing? Birthday parties? You can't have a birthday party. There's a pandemic. What are you thinking? Having to wear a mask everywhere. Oh, yeah, I got to wear a mask. Yeah, that's going to change everything. If we just covered our face, no one would get sick. Yeah, okay. But, no, yeah, that's part of it. But, the biggest reason I don't really believe in the official COVID narrative is because I don't believe in the official mainstream perspective of science in the first place. Yeah, I'm a philosopher, and so I've spent a lot of time trying to work with this. And so the basic mainstream perspective of science in general is that of reductive physicalism, which suggests that there's a universe, a physical world, which is progressing through physical states. And those physical states somehow produce consciousness, somehow produce life, and life evolves to consciousness. And that, consciousness is just some epiphenomenon of physical states, and that we don't have any free will or anything such as conscious causal agency or conscious causal efficacy. I don't think that's really the way the world's working. No, not at all. I think consciousness actually does have the power, and we are co-creating our reality through consciousness through feedback loop systems, a dynamic causation. Okay, so this is a lot based on the work of the Resonance Science Foundation, which suggests that there is a information processing feedback loop system, the micro wormhole network, connecting all things at the Planckian level, the small subatomic level, and that through this, each subatomic bit works as a little bit of information, and it's all an information processing network at each scale, from subatomic particles to atoms to cells to organisms to planets and stars and galaxies and galactic clusters and supergalactic clusters or galactic superclusters, whatever, universes. All are each an individual system of information processing. They're each their own little system and a feedback loop structure. And so we are a system of information processing and feedback loop structure co-creating our reality. So there is free will, and we are co-creating our reality because reality isn't just an objective physical process. It's a process of information sharing and, created through consciousness at every scale, and different levels of consciousness in a fractally embedded holographic system. Okay, yeah, so this is pretty big. Really, so I don't agree with their whole paradigm of science. And so I also, from realizing that I found that their whole paradigm of science was incorrect, really spun me down the rabbit hole and asking other questions, and I found that, it's not just incorrect, but we're being purposely steered, misguided, just like how the religions were purposely misguided. And, this understanding actually may be, the Resonance Science Foundation, the one I was talking about, the Information Feedback Loop System Network, may actually be closer to some sort of spiritual traditions. But, the mainstream religions kind of tried to halt and control those spiritual traditions. And now we have the mainstream scientific community under their paradigm of reductive physicalism that is also trying to control our understanding of consciousness and our understanding of our causal efficacy through the feedback loop system. Okay. So, and I've traced this back to realize that, in the ancient times, people had this. They had these depictions of the flower of life pattern, which they found at the root of the space-time field. They built these giant megalithic structures. And they said that, I don't know how they explain, very precise mathematical precision with incredible alignment to the stars, things that, you don't just accidentally do, right? So they must have done this for some means, and I don't agree with the mainstream academic perspective on how these things were built either, because they don't understand these energy dynamics and the feedback loop system and the holographic fractal universe, so of course they're not going to understand that. And so, all right. So where do these say they got these knowledge from? The gods. I made another video about that. And so I haven't titled it yet, so I don't know what to tell you I titled it, but I'm probably going to post it right after this one, or before. Anyways, okay. All right, so, and then I found that what may be happening here is that certain type of being, for some reason, is trying to use humanity for, I don't know why, is it like the Matrix? Are we feeding their reality? Are they feeding off of our collective conscious energy? I don't know. But, for some reason, they're trying to keep us in this lower consciousness, lower vibrational energy. And there's this correlation. You can look into the HeartMath Institute of our conscious states of love and our vibrational states of energy and our heart rate variability, our heart rhythms. When we're in states of fear, our heart rhythms are all jacked up and we're in a lower vibrational state of energy, lower consciousness. We're in a state of love, our heart rhythms are in a coherent state of energy, higher vibrational energy, higher consciousness. And for some reason, and I thought this well before COVID-19, they do this, and for some reason their whole conspiracy is about something, trying to keep us in this lower energy, lower vibrational states of consciousness. And so, the whole basis of, I don't agree with the whole mainstream perspective on the physicalist, reductive physicalist mentality, which all our science, the mainstream paradigm is really based off of. So I don't even really think that, you're just going to get the virus, you're going to get sick, and then, bad things are going to happen, and there's nothing you can do about it. Well, no, because that doesn't take into account the role consciousness plays in keeping your body healthy, because they don't understand consciousness at all, okay? And, you look into the work of Dr. Bruce Lipton, someone who's not under the mainstream reductionistic, physicalistic paradigm, suggests that our conscious states have an effect on our immune systems. And when we're in states of fear, our immune systems are weakened. States of fear and stress, our immune system weakens, making us more susceptible to disease. Okay. So, are they really, that's why I just don't think all this stuff that we're doing is really good for us, because it's putting us in more fear and more stress, making us more susceptible to disease. And, that's why I don't think that we really need to do all this, because it's actually going to cause us more harm than good, because it's not good for us to be feared and stressed. That makes us more susceptible to all kinds of problems, not just viruses, but cancers and all that stuff, and we don't want to do that. And so that's why, and even if there isn't some conspiracy, and ultimately, most of the people talking about it aren't in on some conspiracy, not everybody's in on it. It's just they're bought into the mainstream paradigm because they don't really understand what's going on. They never really tried that hard. If they did try that hard, they weren't very good at it, I'd say. And so that's why I don't think that really, Okay, so I'm not saying it's necessarily a conspiracy. What I am saying is it's not taking everything into account, and it's not really understanding the full scope of everything in terms of how our whole bodies work and the scope of consciousness and the feedback loop system of how we have a causal effect on our reality and our body's well-being. Okay? And so, fear and stress aren't good for us. So when they constantly pump fear, 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 stress, stress, stress in the mainstream media and nothing else about, trying to strengthen your immune system to protect yourself from the virus, it's sketchy. Yeah. I mean, it's not the way we probably want to really handle this, given our actual scientific evidence. So maybe it's not a conspiracy, but, it's probably not the way we want to handle it. Actually given science. But, like I said, if there is some conspiracy, it comes down to certain beings trying to lower our states of consciousness, lower our vibratory energy to keep us in this fear-based energy state. Because, I don't know, they just want to keep us like that for some reason. I mean, you look back into it, they talk about this in ancient texts. There's the Anunnaki, the Archon, the Jinn. There's all kinds of stuff like this, And so, it's something to consider. And so, that's one of the reasons why I don't really buy this whole COVID-19 thing. Because as a philosopher, I don't really agree with the mainstream approach, the mainstream view of the scientific reductionistic paradigm. Not science itself. I'm not arguing, I don't agree with science. We need to just believe God. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I don't believe with their paradigm. That's really a philosophical paradigm of understanding. I think they got it wrong because they don't understand consciousness and the causal efficacy of consciousness and its reality to be a co-creator of its reality. And how important it is that we stay in loving, high vibrational states. And it seems to be that they want to keep us in lower vibratory states of energy. And, it's just, I don't think that's helpful for us. And, I thought this was going on well before COVID-19. So then COVID-19 thing comes along and all they try to do is promote fear and fear and fear and stress and stress and stress. And it's like, whoa, guys. Especially given that, I don't even think their whole model of understanding is correct in terms of it doesn't understand how we heal ourselves and how our body heals ourselves through our minds and how important that is. The fact that they're not really taking any of that into account at all. I just don't really believe the whole mainstream paradigm. So I'm not, COVID-19 and, telling me we have to just do all this stuff because they say so, based on the science, which I don't find really has a full grasp of everything, so I just think I don't think we should do all that. And really, if you think you do, it's just your limited understanding of the science that you think you have so much figured out, which I'll disagree with, and I'll have a full philosophical discussion with you about. I've studied this stuff a lot. And really, so you're just trying to force your view on everyone else, They're just trying to force their limited understanding of science on everyone else. When I think it's incorrect. I don't think their scientific understanding is correct. I'm not saying science is wrong itself. I'm saying their view, their paradigm, their premise of how they think the universe is working. I would say, no, that's not the right view. You're not taking all this other science into account in terms of the causal efficacy, in terms of consciousness and the role it plays. And so, it's just, and I'm not saying you have to believe what I believe, but I don't think it's fair that, you're just going to force your beliefs on everyone else. And you believe that the universe does work this way. I believe it doesn't. And I'm basing my belief on scientific evidence as well. And there's just two different scientific understandings, okay? And I'm not trying to tell you what you can and cannot do, And I don't think it's right for you to tell me what I can and cannot do. I think it's kind of ridiculous that you're trying to force your beliefs on everyone. That's crazy. It's just what you believe, man. And you're trying to force everyone into your belief. Tell them they can't do this. They can't do that. They must wear the fucking mask. I mean, it's crazy. You're just forcing your limited understanding, your limited belief on everyone. And I think that's insane. And, I think the whole model, the whole paradigm of understanding is incorrect because it doesn't understand consciousness. It doesn't understand the role consciousness really plays in the creation of reality. And that's why I don't really believe the mainstream paradigm of the whole, we must do this because of COVID-19. I don't buy it because I'm a philosopher and I don't buy their shit. All right? I have my belief, you have yours. Please stop trying to force your belief on me. That's incredibly rude, okay? Why don't you go it's just insane, guys. It's what you believe, and you're trying to force that belief on everyone else. It's no different than someone who believes that, whatever their religion tells them, and then they're trying to force their religious belief on you. It's no different. It's just their belief. You can say, no, it's different because my belief's based on science. It's like, well, no, I would show you that. Well, no, I think you have an incorrect understanding of what your interpretation of this science is. And, you look into all this stuff and epigenetics and quantum mechanics and some of this other stuff about how consciousness plays this role in its reality and has this impact. And, so I would argue with you that that's not a correct interpretation of the science. So, it's your just belief that it is the correct interpretation of the science. So yes, that's exactly what you're doing. You're enforcing your belief on everyone else just because you believe it. And I think that's incredibly rude and ridiculous. And I don't know what gives you the right to think you have, the audacity to do that. Or gives you the audacity to think you have the right to do that. I think that's crazy on your part. And that's why I'm not going to listen to you, because I've really tried to figure this world out, and I don't agree with what you're presenting me as what we need to do here based on your assumptions and based on your philosophy. And so I don't buy it. It's not because I'm a bad person. No, it's because I'm a smart person.